want to know more about our policies and agenda, and also see me on the campaign trail, join us on UDP trail on Kerr Fatou at 2:30 p.m. every Wednesday.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. maa ngi nuyu Gambien si ak fu ñu di nekk si réew mi di leen yëgal ne man Aji Yam Seck maa ñëw pour wax politique yi United Democratic Party di leen won ne soo leen si buggee xam dara àllarba bu jot ñaari waxtoo genn wàll na ngeen toog si Kerr Fatou ngeen ubbi radio Kerr Fatou ngeen déglu dinañ waxtaan suñu agenda ñu tëralee suñu politique pour 2021 da xëcc daa ba mën a dem State House jërëjëf.
You want to know more about our policies, our agenda, and also see me on the campaign trail? Join us on our program, UDP on the Trail, every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. only on Kerr Fatou.
Do you want to know more about the UDP, our plans, policies, and agendas, and also see me on the campaign trail? Join us every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. on Kerr Fatou, where we share some of the work we're doing with you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Welcome to UDP on the Trail. I am your host this afternoon. As you all know, my name is Almami Fanding Taal, and I am very pleased to host this afternoon a very distinguished son of the Gambia and a founding member of the UDP, Mr. Lamin Sanneh. Our theme this afternoon is to talk about why UDP. Of course, since the launching of our manifesto, since the establishment of the 5-point agenda, UDP itself has been on a roll. A lot of positive press have come our way. Even some of our rivals have conceded that we have momentum at the moment. So Lamin, let us start from the beginning. Why should Gambians vote for UDP? We know this is the Silver Jubilee year of the UDP, 25 years of struggle, 22 of which was really a fight against dictatorship. So we are at the eve of another historic election. Why should Gambians consider voting for Ousainou Darboe in December 2021?
Good afternoon, viewers. Almami, thank you very much for inviting me today. I am honored and privileged to come again and speak about this great party, a party that our parents worked very hard to get off the ground. Like you said, the party this year, 25 years.
Yes, I remember when the party leader was launching the manifesto, he was very emotional, and he listed the names. Your father, the Honorable Jallo Sanneh, was one of the founders of the party, and he was sad that this day they were not around to celebrate the Silver Jubilee of the party. So you are a second generation.
And that's the beauty about this party.
Yes.
And that's why people should vote for UDP. One of the things. The party was formed on ideology. It was not a party that just was formed because people wanted to form a political party. The party was formed for a reason, which is to fight at the time what we had, which was a military rule, and not to allow this country to be derailed and then leave the democratic space and get into hands at the time when we know the outcome of military coups don't end well and stuff like that. So I think after 25 years, Gambians have seen what UDP is today. The party is growing every day. And every part of this country, there's a UDP office or bureau. And people are embracing the party because the consistency they've seen over the years. Yes, we have The founding fathers today are not around, but like you said, the generation is passing on. And that shows that is a good sign of legacy and succession planning in process. But then the reason why this election is key is we have come out of 22 years of a difficult period. And we've seen a lot of things that happened after the fall of Gambia. And there were things that we expected, which we couldn't get it in the first phase of the transition, which we call 2016 to 2026 was supposed to be a transitional government, which our aspirations and the things that we aspired and wanted, we didn't see it.
Yeah, no constitutional reform.
Exactly, we didn't have it.
No public
the transitional justice, the commission, the assets, the money, we don't know where it is. So we don't know where we are in terms of what we fought for at the time. So this year, I think we have an opportunity to correct that. And I believe the party that can do that is the United Democratic Party, not only because of I am there, you are there, but because the principles of the party. This party was formed on principles and ideology, and we refuse to change that over time, and because we believed in it. So anybody joining UDP found the members of UDP believing in that ideology, and that carries on, and that will carry on for generations to come, because it was not built on a personality, it was not built on greed, it was not built by people who wanted position, but people who have values and have Gambia at heart, and that's what we all inherited.
Yeah. Tomorrow, the final report of the TRRC will be submitted to His Excellency the President. UDP, during the public hearings, as an institution, as individual members of the party, I think it's fair to say, had the biggest testimonies, had the biggest victims, including the party leader. But on Saturday, there was a rally in Saruja, and the former Attorney General, Mr. Lamin Jobate, came on stage and announced that he is joining the UDP. Some members of the UDP have expressed disapproval of that announcement. Some people have also argued that it's a fundamental right of every Gambian to join any political party. There has been a lot of noise. The Victim Center has come out. A lot of people have expressed outrage about that show, even though it's a very brief moment on what was really a very successfully organized Congress. So where do you stand on this issue?
No, I think, look, we are a democratic party, and I think every Gambian has the right to be associated with any political party you want to be associated with based on what you believe in. I'm happy that our own people have criticized us for what happened. Personally, my personal opinion is regrettable. We have to be honest about that. It shouldn't have happened. It happened, but we move on as a party. And I think we should be open about criticism. We are a diverse people, okay, and our membership is diverse. And some will have a view different from the other view. And I think it's good that our own people are criticizing that what happened on Saturday. We should welcome it. That tells people that when we're in government, our people will criticize us if we don't do the right things.
Yeah.
So for me personally, I think it was not, like I said, it's regrettable. It shouldn't have happened. It had happened. And we just have to now admit and move on. At the end of the day, what is important, I think, the party's position.
Yes. I think that was, in fact, the reason why I asked the question, because you talked about principles, you talk about ideology.
The principles of the party will not be compromised for any individual. That one I can say it clearly. And I will reiterate that a UDP government will implement the General Commission to the latter. Full.
This is what the party leader said when we launched our manifesto also, that the commitment of the UDP is unwavering on these issues. And now that we have gotten that out of the way, let us look at the state of the Gambia, because our politics have become very polarized needlessly. We have seen a lot of new political actors and even political parties, and there is a lot of chest pounding about CVs and records of achievement or even personal wealth. I know, because we are good friends, you and I, for many years, that you have spent more than 2 decades
Almost now.
living outside the
Yes,
Gambia.
coming to 20 years now.
Yes, working in the private sector of many emerging economies and working for global
Multilaterals
institutions.
and bilaterals, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So really, why didn't you also go and, I mean, you made it clear here, because it seems to be the fashion these days for people to get up and, claim that, they are so, well prepared to be president because they had international jobs or because they have the CV or the pedigree. What is your reaction to this new phenomenon that we are seeing in Gambia?
I'm happy that today, Gambia, people can come up and say, I want to be a president, I want to run for elections, without having a second mind whether I will sleep at home or not. I think we thank Gambians for coming out to vote and make that change happen in 2016. Now, the issue of people vying for presidency, I think is the right of every Gambian, qualified, eligible, to aspire to be the president. Personally, for me, I've never thought about it. It's not in my plans. It's not something that I dream of. I think I can serve in different areas and different capacities, even not being in the cabinet. I have no presidential aspiration, and I've made that very clear to people who think that way. But I also believe that us as UDP, we're a party. We have structures, and for us, we'll follow the party line and follow the party structure. We have our candidate. We're going to campaign for him throughout the remaining 2-3 months for the elections. Any person, Gambian, qualified, eligible, who wants to run for presidency. I don't think presidency is about CV alone. I don't think so. I don't think so. We've got presidents who've done very, very well. They don't have a big CV, very light CV. Some have not even finished university level education. And so I think experience, exposure, integrity, honesty, knowing yourself. You start with that. Those are key for presidency. And the job of a president is not an individual job. It's a team effort. It's just like a football game. You need to have a team around you to do things. You can't do it on your own. And you don't even know what's happening outside. That's why you need to have a solid team around you to build. So it's not about individual. Honestly, it's not about.
So that is your theory of leadership,
Yes.
because I think it's very important to the viewers to understand that leadership matters.
It does.
It makes a difference.
It does.
In our own lifetime, we have seen the unlikely candidacy of Barack Obama and the transformation that has had on not only American politics, but global politics. That politics is actually a politics of purpose.
Yes,
it is a politics of service. It's not really about you, the individual.
No.
I mean, you remember his slogan, yes, we can.
Yes, we.
Yeah.
Very important.
Because this is important for our generation, because we were born after independence and came of age in a republic that was an example in Africa. The Sadauda legacy up to now, I think Gambians have not.
But look at that team.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yes. No, that's the point I'm coming. Yes.
Yes. But then again, Almami, to add to that, today, if you look at the landscape of politics in this country, honestly, we have the best team.
Yes. Now, can we go further?
Okay. The reason I say that, Gambia had independence in '65 with Singapore around the same time, right? The First Republic.
Yeah.
We were almost the same size.
We are bigger than them
at the time.
Yes.
What did they have? Nothing. We had maybe Atlantic Ocean and stuff.
Yeah.
With the leadership they had, Lee had built the basis, the base for development in Singapore, and turned Singapore to what is it. Okay. Now we started, and then we got drilled. 94. 94. Rwanda came up.
Yes.
So another comparison to show you the different leadership. Paul Kagame has transformed Rwanda from 94 to date, and we had a new government in 94, and still now we're behind. So the importance of leadership
matters. Yeah.
It's key.
Yes, leadership matters.
And that leader must pick the right team, a balanced team.
Yes.
Age, wisdom, with young energy.
Yes.
That's the balance you need to maintain to run a country.
Yeah.
You don't run a country on personal traits or tribal lines or being sentimental about what the guy thinks. No, you do what is right for the people. And you must have honest people to tell you the truth. And I believe Usenu is the right, he has the trait. I've known him for a long time. I've never seen much change in him. I've worked with him. We have our fights, which is normal. But that's what moves the country.
Yes. Myself, I had experiences with him at the bar. This was in the late 1990s up to now, like you're saying. He has been practicing law in this country with distinction. And he has these timeless values that Bunyaning Horomo is fundamental to achieving any transformation of society that you require.
But that's part of our culture and our religion.
Of course, of course.
So,
of course. And coming again back to theory of leadership. Now, theory of change. Why UDP? Because we have a government structure inherited from the First Republic and changed significantly by the Jammeh leadership, where you have a government centralized in the personality of the chief executive, of the president. What is UDP going to do structurally?
Completely different, completely different. I think our manifesto in detail has shown that we have the decentralization support for the local authorities, and where the financial structures and capital projects in this country will not be done by the central government alone. So those projects in KMC in Banjul will be done with the Banjul City Council, KMC, Birkama Area Council, Farafenye, Emansakongo Area Council, Kerewan Area Council, Puntaur, and Basse. And that inclusiveness is key for us to be able to do more, reach out to people and understand what people want. And there will be some level of responsibility and ownership. Because what you see is central government doing things on their own, and people just see that things are happening within there. Who maintains it? Who takes ownership? When there's a problem, there is nobody to take responsibility. Well, I am supposed to monitor this. I am supposed to make this work. So a good example is that decentralization in government is going to change a lot of things. So that power that sent us into the state house will be trickled down, where you know that the local governments will now manage their constituencies, their districts, working with the alcalos and the CFOs to make sure that things happen on that level. Now the president cannot wake up and say, I'm going to do a road here. I'm going to do this here, without the involvement of the local authorities. That's one. Two, the composition of the cabinet. I believe he will pick a very good team that will not be there to say what he wants, but what is right for this country, and help him build a legacy that every Gambian will be proud of. And that's what we all want. We want this country to move forward. And to do that, we need to be honest to each other, to look each other in the face and say, this is not right. You can't do this. And thirdly, that will benchmark structures. Look, Almami, look at our rankings, our ratings in tech business, doing business, which is wide broad because of the 11 parameters that they use, which covers a cut across, from setting up business to litigation to credit to cost ports clearing. We're what, 153 out of 190? Our average score is what, 50.3?
Even Forbes magazine has also come with even a more scathing ranking. I think we are better off than maybe 2 countries in the world.
So that tells you a story. So again, a UDP government will have that benchmark metrics to say, this is where we are when we took government, and slightly move that, have an aspiration for the first term of Zenodabo by 2026. Gambia should be at least in the middle table of each of all these international standards agents, so that we can be rated as a country. So that we have a challenge. Gambia is not rated even for investment decisions.
Yeah, but I remember President Wade, when he was coming with alternance and SOPI, he says that can do like a 5%. You know, there was always these ratings, these rankings and things like that. In real terms, because I think a lot of the discussion or the general discourse about the politics of this country centers around civil and political rights issues. Economic rights issues, if you look at the Gambian economy, is in the grip of non-Gambians. All the commanding heights of the economy belong to non-Gambians. Not that this is a statement of giving fear or making
no.
people feel
No.
otherwise. But the economy of this country, in terms of productivity, in terms of empowering and enriching Gambians, it has been not optimally calibrated. I heard the party leader in Brufut, I think about 3 years ago, saying that he wants to create Gambian millionaires. So that
we have discussed that several times.
Yes. So really, how do we go about that as a party? As a
that's a
mass
very,
movement?
very important point because of the circumstances Gambia is today. Even before COVID, there was a need for diversification of the economy. Almami, an economy that is funded by tax money will never grow. Tax kills productivity. Taxation kills productivity. You cannot have an economy where you rely on taxes to fund. When you tax people, people cannot save. And when they don't save, there's no capital. So that's why you're saying that you see foreigners coming in with small savings, and then over the time, they build a business for themselves. Gambians here, they don't have enough disposable income to live on.
Yes.
Much more to invest or to go into entrepreneurship. So again, as part of our 5-point agenda, that value creation in terms of empowerment, youths, Gambians, is key and is a fundamental drive in our strive to make sure that we turn around the economy. We cannot continue taxing civil servants and the middle class. Gambia's middle class is virtually dead. If you don't have a strong
middle class,
if you don't have a middle class, look, put it this way: who hires maid, house helps? Who hires drivers? Who hires gardeners? Who hires security? These are sectors, key sectors for the drive the economy.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
At 60% of the active population labor is in that sector group. If you don't have enough disposable income, you cannot buy a new car. You cannot have security at your home. You cannot have a gardener. So these are things that we need to look at. And then we've taken our time to look at and say, look, this economy cannot be based on only taxing. We need to produce, we need to add value, we need to export. Today, this country has competency in production. Hibiscus, what we call wanja, it's a huge market today. A ton is what, $1,200, $250 international market. Moringa, what we call never die here. We eat it with our cherries and domadas and stuff like that. It's a big market. Either tablet or powder or the seed oil, which is used for massage by the rich people. Today, a 5 ml is about 7-8 euros. So this country is endowed with that. We have enough. Groundnut is there. But these are extra things that we can do in create that environment, invest in it. You know, my problem, the problem I have is capital projects are good. Human capital is more important for Gambia today.
And UDP is talking about
exactly that human capital.
Building human
we
capital.
Look, today, look at the pandemic. People are at home. They can't go to work. They need a social safety net to survive, to continue developing themselves, to be innovative.
But also, they need online infrastructure, a digital economy. Most countries with robust digital infrastructure have managed to weather the storms of the pandemic more than countries that do not have those kind of, even e-learning, online programs, and a lot of things are now happening on the World Wide Web. One of the 5-point agenda
is to upscale the platform.
Yes.
And that will cover what? Even not only work, but customs, for example.
Yes.
Where I live in Mauritius a few years ago, before I moved back to Dubai, you clear your goods, you don't have to go to customs. You pay taxes online. And here we have an issue of tax compliance.
Yes.
Very, very low.
I think that is one area I also want to make absolutely clear to our viewers and to everybody. There is this mistake that governments have money or government does things. In fact, it is the people through their taxes. And if at all the taxes are efficiently managed and the government is committed to living within its means, I think I would disagree with your point that we cannot live by tax alone. I disagree with it to the extent that these taxes, no matter how small they are, could be the seed for the investments you are talking about and the partnerships, the public-private partnerships that can become, look at the Mbalit in KMC. So really,
but that's
coming
not tax.
back,
But that's not tax money.
No, it's not
services.
tax money. It's services.
Exactly.
But no, the point I'm trying to make, Lamin, is really that it is the people who finance their development.
Yes, I agree.
So public finance has for a very long time been mystified, you know, and the government has the impression that this is the government doing this capital project.
No. That's why I said. That's why I said earlier. In the context I put the taxation was in response to why Gambians are not in control of that business sector because they don't have enough disposable income to save to go into business. And the cost of credit, we know how much it is in this country, and the collateralization and the. So that's why I said in that context, yes. But if you look at it the other way around, where the government takes that tax collected and they put it into capital projects, and that's why we have this huge debt on our neck that my grandchildren will pay and maybe my great grandchildren will continue paying because those. I'm not against borrowing. Let me be very clear. That's the job I do. Borrow and fund. Manage balance sheet. Make sure the funding is right. The tenures match. The repayments are. But the question, the worry I have is, we take huge amount of debt into capex projects that are not self-financing. And they're not done properly. The maintenance cost is very high. And we keep paying. If at all, we could change that, develop a productive sector, and the service fees that we collect from there will help us two things. Liquidity to fund these CAPEX projects. Number two, the foreign exchange relationship would be better for Gambia. Because when you export more, you earn forex. That will help the demand for Gambia. So as you're exporting, people are asking for Gambia dalasi. When you don't export much, they don't ask for Gambia dalasi. So today we import everything. Now if we have a correspondent export level, our trade balance will be at least not 150-50, but at least you have that room where the dalasi might be within $30 to $1 or 25 or so, because you are exporting more. Foreign currency is flowing in. Today, tourism and groundnut, I think, are the biggest. And look at the tourism pandemic. Look at the ground sector. The volumes we used to produce has dropped. Why? Because we have not looked at it, the structure, and say, look, this is not working. We need to change it. We need to adapt.
So import substitution. And
grow rice because it's our key product. So the production sector should be import substitution, which includes rice. Okay, develop the moringa business, develop the hibiscus business, even soybeans and all that. That's a big products that are exported.
Absolutely.
The environment, the land, our weather is good for it. We've got water. All we need is the investment and the framework to make it work.
But I remember we were coming down from Bansang after our rally. We stopped by a village. Their concern, their complaint was water, and they were just a few meters from the river Gambia. So fresh water is going to be a very precious resource if you want to have agricultural transformation. I want to stick a little bit just on the economics of development here. I know from our taxes, almost all the executive agencies of the Gambia government are renting private accommodations. At least 3 or 4 ministries are also renting private accommodations. And if you go to Banjul, for example, there are dilapidated, abandoned buildings actually near the State House, around Makati Square. I think if we are serious about the renaissance of Banjul or the regeneration of Banjul, it should progressively be turned into a port capital city where you have the seat of government and you have predominantly commercial and business establishments there. And this can be done progressively, obviously, by investing in the existing infrastructure that is there, modernizing it, bringing it to a level that will encourage international businesses and international partners to come to our capital city. Because now, if you are paying annually as a government, you are paying rent of maybe $200-300 million. Really, that can be invested into building world-class infrastructure that can make the country progressively grow. It can green, you can help green, like our capital city is very small. You can surround it with moringa and coconut and
Kigali,
all of
they've
those
done
things.
it in Kigali.
Yes.
They've uplifted the place.
Yes.
Today, if you go to Kigali, it's doable.
Yes.
But you know, Almami, from my interaction
mm-hmm.
with the government when I was doing the OIC, I realized that there was no balance sheet management structure where you look at the assets of the government, what properties they have, and that, and try to make value out of it. And I think one of the reforms we have under the finance UDP, under the Minister of Finance, will be to look at that and bring in that more physical discipline, wherein we will cut most of the unnecessary expenditures. Yes. And then we start with the Office of the President. Under Usino we're going to cut on all the unnecessary expenditure and manage that budget as small as possible. $750 million is a year for a state house is too much. So we're going to cut it. That's one first thing we're going to start to save money, and that money can be invested into more assets, either earning assets or assets that will reduce the government expenditure, coming like rent and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's part of the whole financial reform package that we have, and that's also part of the financial plan we have when we get to office.
And another cost to government, because this is what really I think we need to clarify for our people to understand, that these expenditures are consumption. They are not investments. They are current expenditures, and they are every year. Every time you hear supplementary budget, every time you hear budget, it is you and I who are going to
borrowing.
Yes, and borrowing. Yes, obviously. So lastly, there is energy transitions globally, and the energy situation in the country has continued to be dire. In the early days of the transition from dictatorship, we had car power, we had all of these things, and now people thought there was going to be stability, but the outages are on and off, on and off. Why is this solution not a lasting solution? Why is it not permanent when you have alternatives like solar and communities that are smaller, like the city of Banjul and KMC and Brikama? I think they could have off-grid renewable energy platforms. Options.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the decentralization you mentioned, I think, really could be a way. Of
it will also balance the demand, because if you know, NAVEC's problem is not production, generation. No, it's distribution. And you remember we secured some grants during the OIC project when we were doing the resource mobilization, about 32.5 million or so, 22 plus 10.5, and that was supposed to do 22 for the water and 10.5 to change the grid. Okay, that would have improved significantly the distribution. But on the demand side, we also we are growing with technology. Everything hinges on power.
Yes.
And if we really want to compete as a destination to attract more investors, that's very key. Cost of power, access to the internet, very key. Definitely. And we're very weak on that. Okay, and it's one of the points that if you look at the reports and the rankings, and it's some of the very, very low. We score very low on it because the investment that is required. So I would not say it was not done, but probably we didn't do it the way it should be. A good example, kind of an industrial area. We all know it's an industrial area. The demand there is high. So supply to that area should be in line with what is required. You can't just do a zone and then leave it like that. So you talked about decentralized. Some villages would need power only at night or to charge their mobile phones in the evening. Put a solar system to support that. And maybe put small thing, and they contribute a small thing for the maintenance of that system.
Of course.
So you reduce the pressure on NAWEC, on HFO usage, which is not healthy, and it's not sustainable. The spare part, because I've managed NAWEC for so many years, so I know their problem. And that's why if you look at the manifesto and the 5-point agenda, that line is very key. How do we now bring more options of renewable energy, which is also in line with international standards, and then try to diversify the source of power, not only focusing on HFO generation, but biofuel and wind and turbine and others. So I think these are things that we have also captured fully in the manifesto. That's why I say UDP government is the right government, is the right party to choose, because we're breaking these things down deep into it, and this was a response to what Gambians want. We didn't just wake up in the morning and went on preparing this 5-point agenda or the manifesto. We have consulted. What does Gambians want? What is the priority for Gambians today? And the focus has been on those 5 points agenda. Food nutrition. We eat, we don't know what we eat.
Yes,
Everything is
absolutely,
imported.
Absolutely.
We have high level of diabetes in this country. Starch.
Yes.
Why can't we grow our rice? If we want to be sustainable, we want to manage our dollar relationship effects, we need to see how much can we contain the rice. Can we grow 5-10% every year? So we reduce the 120,000, 200,000 by 10 every year. 5 years, that's what? 50 per 50. At least you got 50% of that off.
Yes.
Okay, and that's what Hussein was explaining in Yabakunda. That every year we would target to get at least 10% of that produced locally, cumulatively. And it's doable. So we factored in the agricultural plan. And the quality of food is more important also. It's not only what you eat, but the nutritional requirements.
Yes. Yes. I think quality is a very important word. I mean, the infrastructure, the education, the hospital facilities, the roads. I mean, everything hinges on that. Because you can have it, but the quality is an inferior quality.
Let me tell you, there is no economy today. And that's why I said it's good for us under UDP government. We're going to benchmark. There is no economy that is growing today that does not have a high human capital index. And what is human capital index?
It's the team you are talking about.
Exactly. It's the capacity of people to get up in the morning, go to work, not thinking about taxi fare or dapas or nawek or something. No, you go healthcare. It's a service. It's a service. You get the best service from a smile. When you get to the hospital, no, so how are you? That people, when you go to the hospital, you need to feel it.
Yes.
When we were kids,
when
we go to RVTH, those days, the smell, the scent of the
place. It was RVH. It was not TH.
Yes, RVH. You know, even when you have a small crash, you want to go to the hospital. Because you feel happy. You're taken care of.
Yes.
I remember when the helicopter crash happened. My father was admitted when he came back from London for treatment. So I went there to see him. Every day I wanted to go there because the hospital was nice, clean. The nurses were well white, nicely dressed. That all smell. So it was well kept. So if you're sick, you get to that environment. You know you're going to
get better very quickly.
So it's service delivery. It's not the structure. It's not by name. So having a hospital is good structure. Just like education, having the classroom is not the end of it. It's one small part of it. The environment itself includes the service delivery, which is human. That's a human being.
Absolutely.
Person helping you, teaching you, taking care of you. Look at our security. And the security reform, we're going to work on it. It has to happen. It will happen under UDP government. We need to look after them. They're part of us. They're our brothers and sisters and our cousins and our uncles. They need to be well taken care of so that they can deliver. Our expectation has to also be met by their investment. You don't expect me to produce this and then you don't give me anything to be able to produce that. That's not fair. So for me, I think our 5-point agenda captures today what we need to transform this country from day one.
Lamin, what I'm hearing so far is that there is a clear vision.
Clear, very clear.
There are ideas that have been tried and tested elsewhere.
Yes.
And all of them have been homegrown.
Yes.
And they are based on the data, on the facts that we have found on the ground. Waa léegi fu mu nekk dama bëggoon rek pour ñu gën a wax ñi ñoo déglu ñi ñoo seetaan understand. Lamin xam nga ne ñu ngi ci élection jamono élection. Xam nga tamit ne coow li bari na. Mbër yi bari nañ ñu ngi wax ne ñoom ñoo mun lii ñoo mun laa. Dañ bari xam-xam dañ bari alal liggéey nañ ci biti mun nañoo yóbbu dëkk bi li coow li bari yëpp yow nga ne UDP lu tax nga ne nit ñi ñu sànnil UDP wala ñu bokk ci UDP
xam nga Almami li ma da wax ci angale si njëlbeen bi parti danga koy sampa si li nga gëm yow li nga gëm ne noonu lañu war a doxale sarta yi parti dafa war a am sarta parti doo ko tabax pour yore réew si ne man maa mun man du yóbbu réew ñun moo yóbbu réew
mbooloo mooy
doole moo tax ma ne parti mooy mun a yóbbu réew foog nga am ñooy àndal foog nga am ñi ngay liggéeyal ñoo xam ne gëm nañ li nga gëm sarta parti gëm nañ ko
man suma jàngati UDP keroog parti leader bi mu ngi waxtaan si suñ anniversary 20 at ak juróom léegi parti bi mu kalaf la mu ngi wax ne xolam ñeeñoon na lool ndax ñim dooral yoon wi yàlla jëlee na leen fi kenn ci ñim ci tudda di sa papa yow honorable Jallow Sanneh mi nekkoon ci nguuri Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara so dafa mel ni yow da nga doona UDP affaire yi dono la
non déedéet xam nga man suma bokk si UDP bi ma wax suma papa si suma papa di wax ne dañoo fom parti boobu amul tur bokk na parce que dama gëmoon ne li ñu doon def moo yoon tam tugu ñu ngi amoon nguuri soldat te ñu ngi waroon a dem si élection dañu war a sànni carte ñoom PPP lañ bokkoon dañ leen tere na ñoom seen parti bi dàq nañ leen tas na
loolu nag am na solo because ñu bëri xamuñ ne UDP ñi ko jur ñetti parti la
waaw
di PPP NCP ak GPP pexe Yaya Jammeh la woon pour ne ñii xamoon na ne kenn ku taxaw si ñii
dina mën a win élection
dafa win élection bi mu ne ñooñu duñ mun a tax daf leen tere
waaw moo laa woon ne ñi sos ñi commencé waxee UDP dafa bëri am na aku léegi Sam si la daa ñëw suma ba Oncle Amdous Camara daa ñëw suma ba Oncle du Taal ñoom Dadi Saloum ñoo ñëpp waa ba duñ comme li ñuy wax xeet duñ bokkuñu xeet waaye ñoom ñëpp a bokkoon am ba ma tambe du gis-gis ne lii du yoon ñu fom parti boo xam ne taxawal parti bu bees tuddee ko United Democratic Party li tax ñu tabax ko mooy woon pour xeex ne nguuru soldat bu mu fi toog so loolu woon liñ xam tey moom la payi seen xam naa ne séntu woon nañ ne nguuru soldat du de nekk nguur boo xam ne day ànd ak méngoo respect human rights yi nit ñi xamoon na Ghana Nigeria Togo xamoon beneen dëkk yooyu amoon na coup d'état so gisoon nañ li doon xew xam naa moo tax ñu ragal te su jógutee réew mi mun naa demee ni te liñ gis si TRRC at least xam naa loolu war nañoo jàngal lu bëri so man suma bokk si UDP foofu la commencé bañ tànn Alaaji Ousseynou mu nekk suñ candidat ñu nekk si gannaawam paye liñ gisoon si moom man tam loolu laa gis de waaw gisuma si dara loo xam ne su ma fa waxuma ko li ma wax si Ousseynou gis naa ko kilifa la manduna
déggu na
yaru na am na xel
am na xam-xam
la waaw xam-xam du nga wax xam-xam moom boobu doogul du ma fi njëkkoon looy mag yi njëkkoon fii ñun bi ñu dem school
waaw mooy dëgg
dañ ko daan gis
mooy dëgg
waaw
1981 coup d'état bi
waaw so xam nañ ko si xam ne xam-xam moo tax ma ne la njiit doo ko tànn su ne kii xeet bi la jógee o kii dafa am alal o dafa non ñii mu liggéey waaw naka laa njiite ndax am na yërmande si nit ñi
waaw
boobu nag doo ko xam su nekkee président balaa moo nekk président nga ko xam
waaw
nu muy deflante
waaw jabari président Obama mu ne président yaa nekk président wala am place du la dee wax ne kii nii la mel wala na
baaxee ni doo ko xam si
waaw doo ko xam ci loolu daf dee wone jikkoom daf laa woon kii mooy kan ndax Lamin Sanneh bi nga xamoon démba moom moo nekk nii ndax kii keneen ku ees la
waaw moo tax ma ne la taana njiit soo gisee ñun ñu toppa Ousseynou ba tey daf ñu doy njiit xam nga njiit soo amee njiit bu baax lu bëri daf koy yomb xam nga wax nga Sénégal bi Ablaye Wade ñëwee soppi yi mu indi Sénégal ñu gis nañ fu ñu jógee fu ñu dem ma wax naa la jox naa la exemple ne la ñun Gambia ñoo Singapour ñoo commencé woon bàyyi nañ ñu gannaaw 94 bi yaa ngi jëlee réew mi Paul Kagame jël la Rwanda ñoo soo ñu méngaloo Rwanda bàyyi nañ ñu gannaaw waaw njiit bi la moo gën a am solo nag njiit bi nga ne tànn dafa am solo lool parce que moom fu muy toog noonu moom la ñu sànni carte moom mooy decide su ne déedéet du am su ne waa dafa am su àndutee ak xelam am ñoo xam ne dañ ko xelal dañ ko fàttali na ko nit ñi dañ sànni carte pour lii ak lii ak lii te nekkuñ ci yoon boobu nañ gestuwaat du dem
so politique bi war naa am yërmande war naa am kilifa koo xam ne dafa boole xel yi ak xelaat yi
ànd ak yar
ànd ak yar liggéey ndax liggéey moom rek mooy mun a joxe teranga àddina Lamin bëggoon naa rek ñu xuus si tuuti ci affaire yi économie bi ndax xam nga politique bi li ci gën a am solo mooy wax ji ñu bëri ñu ngi wax affaire yi ne waaw kenn léegi du ñoo jàpp kenn lu la neex lu neex waay wax fu neex waay bokka nit ñi wax ji bëri na waaye suñ koom-koom yi dëkk bi fi mu toll fu mu nekk nii wax dëgg yàlla Gambien si gisuñu si seen boppa ñi ci gën a bëri ñu ngi dem di foraatu xëj na jigéen ñaa ngi dem si seen naako yi le jigéen ñaa ngi dem ci marché di jaay yu sew yi le waaye économie bi fi mu amee doole nekkut ci loxo Gambien si te déggoon naa parti leader bi Brufut fii la ko waxee ne bugg na Gambien si tamit bokk ci millionnaire yi ndax économie rek moo laa mun a jox millionnaire su fekkee da nga bugg a sampa taax da nga bugg a jënd moto da nga bugg a am ku laa liggéeyal ci loo soxla ci àddina rek ci économie bi nga koo jëlee.
dëgg waaw xam nga réew mu nekk dafa am li yore économie soo xoolee Gambia ñun béy lañ am tourisme lempo ak li ñuy may
waaw
ak li ñuy leb
waaw
soo ko farset
waaw
ok tey man njëkkee si li ñuy leb dëgg leb baax na ñu fay leb Amérique sax la ñu leb
waaw waaye even suñ jigéen ñi ak ñu bëri nañu si ususu bi la waaw savings bi waaw
mais waaye ni nga koy defee ak fi nga koy dugal moo important
waaw
su ko defutee di nga fay li ngay jël si nit ñi di fay bor ba abadan du jeex suñ seti nañ fay bor bi ñu am tey du jeex parce que nguur bi fi nekk mu ngi leb rek di ko dugal si loo xam ne ndax loolu lañ soxla tey non man d'accord ma ne loolu lañ soxla tey mën nañ ko defee ne leen yokk comme yi ñëpp gis seen boppa ñëpp lekk ñëpp suur xale yi dem école yu baax lopitaan yi am garab waaye tey amuñ loolu ñu ngi defar ay yoon ay di te nit ñi soxlañ loolu rek parce que soo tabaxee lopitaan amul garab kii jàngale kii liggéey noos bi fay loo ko fay bu doy fan yi rek bala maa ñëw dégg naa noos yi dañ doon dem on strike alawaan si ñu leen waroon a fayuñ leen ko loolu du dox man ñëwaat si affaire yi koom-koom yi réew mi tey man dama foog ne koom-koom bi si lim toog dañ ko war a gën a yaatal waaw xam nga béy mi dafa am lu bëri lu si nekk te Gambia yàlla may nañu suuf bi barke na naat na am nañ dox suñ xoolee ne lan lañ mën a ji fii mu dox si at bi doo xaar benn taw bi ñëw rek nga ne damaa béy béy da nga koy door January ba décembre waaw te am na yoo xam ne mun nañ ko di fi béy di ko jaay bitim réew dinañu usil koom-koom bu bëri comme lu mel ni nebedaay amu naka lañ ko def moringa English nebedaay in wolof mbuum waaw buñ dee def cere waaw du seer la dañ koy def garab parce que appétizer la da lay sawarloo pour nga mën a lekk diw bi baax na pour soo amee yaram bu métti waaw dañ ko dee use pour massage la sa yaram bi xob bi dañ ko dee mën nañ ko def powder tamit def ko garab waaw
wala nga def ko si sa
lekk bi jaay ko du seer la xob bi sax dañ ko dee jaay léegi pour yëy ko
waaw
te loolu mu ngi fi late foo dem soo ko demee rek ji ko mu dab
waaw
jaru sa nga roose ko wonjo moo kasu wonjo tey tooni wonjo rek dem na ba juróom-ñaar fukk junni dalasi benn tooni $1,250 benn tooni bisab bisab soo ko sànni xob rek mun nañ see gestu ñu commencé ko maalo bi ñuy lekk ba kenn xamul fu mu jógee mën nañ koo béy fii am na ñoo xam ne tey suñ fa àggee ñu ne dañ leen bëgg ngeen dimbale ñu ñu jàppale waaw so foog nga seet bés boobu nga yaatal ko ay yokk nit ñi liggéey si mun ci am koom-koom di si jaay di si dund seen doom yi dem si école ñëpp am waaye soo jëlee koom-koom yi réew mi nga ne li nguur gi di war a doxale yëpp dafay jël lompo si nit ñi ñooñu amuñ li ñu war a lekk lu doy du baax de xam nga du tubaab day wax middle class mooy soo xoolee koom-koom réew dafa am ñu nekk si kaw ñu nekk si digg bi ak ñu nekk si suuf parce que am bi la waaw ñu nekk si digg bi Gambie dafa mu ngi gën a ndaw waaw ñun biñu fi dañu liggéey biñu fi nekkee waaw yaatu woon na tuuti parce que ñun dañ daan amoto yu es dañu daan jël mooy es suñ fay baax na waaye léegi tey fay boobu doo ko xayma dafa gën a ndaw lu nekk dafa seer lu tax mu seer
waaw wala nga gis am na mbootaay yu taxaw ñu mel ni Radville Farms
yàgg nañ fi
waaw yàgg nañ fi te show yi nga wax ni njéef yi nga wax ni ak affaire yooyu noonu
lu tax mënuñu am fukki Radville Farms
waaw foofu nag laa bëggoon ñuy waxtaan rek ndax naamo bi tuuti na waaye suñ ko dajalee ba pare ñu emale suñ bugga ñu jéem a seet naka la ñoo gën a mun a dugalee xaalis boobu buñ ko def dépasse rek waaye ñu dugal ko ci ay mbir yu mel ni Radville Farm li ñoo wax coopératisation wala li ñoo wax coopérative maa ngi ko wax rek jigéen ñi foo dem ñu ngaa ususu yëg nga ko yëguloo ko teg boobu noonu nag dafa nekk daf leen dee jural njëriñ ñeneen dañ ko jël dimbale seen doom yi ñu dem jënda place wala ñu jënda ay yére wala ñu dugal ko si seen soxla ñoom damaa wax rek ne nguur gi war naa mun a taxaw économie bi ànd ak ñoom nekk seen àndandoor ndax gis nañ fii ci KMC affaire yi mbalit bi ak Banjul projet bi ñoo wax ne ñu ne public private partnership la mooy jula yi ak mel ni nguur gu ndaw bi fa nekk noonu ñoo bokk affaire fu mu nekk soo buggee saa yoo amee mbalit nga bugg a war doo ko sànni si mbedda bi gars yi mbalit yi dinañ ñëw xëy na da ngaa fay $10 nga waaw so loolu yëpp dama foog ne xalaat yoo xam ne la mun naa dimbali réew mi
loolu mooy yóbbu réew xalaat
waaw
moo tax ma ne la njiit wala ma xam-xam war a am xalaat su mu xam ñu ko xalaatal su tukkee day gis dafa gis su ñëwee dem naa fi gis naa ne moo tax ñuy tukki di dem ak a ñëw li nga doon wax li nga wax noonu loolu mooy doxal dëkk man dama foog ne tey ñun luñ yaakaar suñ toogee mooy ñaata Radville Farm lañ mun a def fii ñaata Gambien lañ mun a jàppale ñuy dugga si mbéy maalo côté région bu nekk mën nañ fa am benn ñaar
waaw
society
waaw CRR biñ jógee nii sax dégg naa am na benn femme
Maro Rice man dem naa ba seeti
Maruo
dem naa ba si faal film bi
ok
jaxali Badiane 2019
ok am nga yéen am
nga man maa ngi si mbéy bi man tam man maa ngi béy moringa
waaw
ak avocado ak cashew lay def waaw loolu fii suuf yi nangu na ko waaw te man ñaata at léegi maa ngi see def maa ngi nanga waaw mun nañoo am ñu mel noonu so nguuru UDP si béy bi foofu la ñu war a jàppale comme li nga doon rek mooy saafaral ñàkk bi doo jël xaalis di ko jox nit saa yu ne fu nga jàppale ko mu xëy suba di liggéey comme la ñu nit yi xale yi amuñ liggéey xale yi mën nañu am liggéey mbéy bi liggéey la agriculture is a profession soo ci dugalee li nga ci war a dugal li si gën a important mooy nguuru UDP affaire suuf bi foog ñu wax ko foog ñu réglé ko waaw doo mën a béy te amuloo suuf loolu moom waaw loolu moom problème la waaw te am nañ suuf yu bëri si nekk si dëkk bi nga xam ne nguur bi am na ni ñu koy defee suñ mu tax ma ne nguur gi dañu war a liggéey ak local authority nguur yu ndaw yi ñu nekk si dex gi maanaam Brikama area council Mansakongo area council Kerewaan Kuntawur Basse foog nga boole leen si liggéey réew mi parce que ñoo ñooy ñoore nguur yu ndaw yi te ñu ëpp ñu ñàkk yëpp si foofu lañ nekk
Lamin si waxtaan bi li ma dégg mooy ne mbooloo mooy doole njiit dafa war a am mandarga yoo xam ne nit ñi dinañ ko xàmmee mooy ne dafa war a am dal dafa war a am xelaat bu rafet dafa war a yëreem askan wi ba pare du fàtte démba niti démba mi ñooy niti teyam yi waaye li gën a am solo réew balaa moo mun a dem ci kanam ndaw yi di yëngu ñu liggéey suñ réew mi naat lii de moom su fekkee ne UDP am nañ yoon bi ba mun ko woon Gambien si xam naa ne dëkk bi dina nekk
moom lañ bind ne juróomi fan nay
waaw
loo xam ne mooy mbébéti Gambia tey moom mooy suñ 5-point agenda
waaw
si gannaaw loolu am na yeneen juróom-ñaar fukk ak ñaar yi fa nekk
waaw
pour jàppale that 5-point agenda bi ni ñoo demee moo tax ma ne la doo mun a soo bëggee def agriculture xaalis bi def si gën a moo gën a important mun nga am xalaat moo gën xalaat doo amul dépasse bul yóbbu ko
du dem de
léegi dépasse boobu noonu soo ko bëggee am fan ngaa wàññee office président bi ngay njëkk a dog
waaw am naa ne rek dee xuloo ak El Hadji Ousseynou ci loolu waaye foog naa ne lu am waaw balaa ngaa ne naam ne fa loolu lañ dee wax
sooy jiitu kay
waaw
jiitu
waaw
fii laa toog
waaw
lii mooy suma dépasse dama koy wàññi lii soxlu ma ko lii soxlu naa ko foog nga priorité parce que comme bi dafa ndaw te ñuy yaakaar nguur pour ñu jàppale leen balaa ñu taxawal seen bopp dafa bëri foog nguur gi jël responsabilité jàppale ndaw yi Gambie ñu taxaw ba pare door na bàyyi ñu demal seen bopp mooy empowerment bi nga wax
macha allah
loolu fooy jëlee xaalis yi foog nga jëlee ko si xaalis nguur bi
mooy dégg
bala ngaa dem si tubaab bi ne la mais moo def lii nga ne kay ne dañu laa bëgg a def de waaye 150 million la am naa 50 million
waaw
jàppale leen ma si 100 million
waaye dama bëgg rek mu leer fii balaa ñu jàll ci beneen laaka mooy ne alali mbooloo loolu la nguur soxla pour liggéeyal mbooloo mi
nguur amul
waaw loolu dafa war a leer
mooy nit ñi
waaw so alali mbooloo mi laa jël waaw dénkaane la Lamin mbaɗigol ka fole ko minin tafal to ñalebe labanna UDP sanji monin lulu aɓe siring ñinan a keta kafoti mi yalon ko a yiri wata bake a keta fanan kafoti mi yalon ko ay kelole ke jang sanji monin fula wolun drong ba na pati lida Alhaji Usain Dabo aba fo kan ko aniyo kuyata sunnuta bake paski anin mo jama ñin silo dati alame min jiyo futandi bila alama nemanin kafar kala be duwale la jango alama sone yale amin ay modo kinin to fo je Jallo Sanneh wala mute fati so aka munta ite UDP abe yelole kono birin chok dabe je nata moy sain nak ko démocratie lebe kerin Gambia molbe kuma jama fokan patiol be lokanne birol be lokanne ko be lafta kala presidentoti Lamin munatin na mol nyanta ka carte o fay Alhaji Usain Dabo ani UDP
Almami baraka ñinin karola yalon mol kata kafo kan dalilol ka fa ndabe ñin kafo dalilol kam politique parti akalo fenne kam to nya fasalam kam mol la yirwandi ka banko fasa UDP lo da wala pour ka kelo ke ñin banku ye kana tar mar jaw kono woda man ka to nyalon de sabatiya mol ye yirwa mo la fata dawda ita je nga wala kala sanji mani lulu fula hani mi baka ako nyaari de mtawasala fo
Gambia be
yo so mbe wasulo ka hani bi mo min ka fa mtawasala fo nga Gambia jaay bo ama fa ngabot ama fa nadi baye bo
ate botale no
ka ba bar ka fa ya la sino ko ko ka fa ala poso ko para ko fo ngaaje o kala mo dum min be loring airport silo ka bala America fo e bo so soto fo ngaaje Gambia min kala jaaro la bantar bango ko e danje ko jaaro lo so da tara nyame o mandar ko balde wa nan ka fa nyaaton ko ni ba tombonna mi nga ne soto molye a bala fa soto molye aka molu ma ko birim binte ay banko kan ay mol bunya ay mol la nyanto bunya wala Alhaji Usain Dabo nyaaton ko ya dum aman ko mo kilin en mol le kata yala ko mfanyol le adara e patiyelo fo fitara dol ibanta dol bije way wono ning tara ya patiyelo ni sila dola maybe dol ci val fa tan dakale
to nya
bari maje bi dol na do ko leer nyaaw nyaaw nga do ko bulen kana patiye makoy bako ñu sontal ko ñinam silot laata ñim patiyel ko asi Gambia bonde nole
UDP kankiling lanjuro keta na ralito saruja sama ñin TRRC la reporto abe fintila mol dol ba fo kanne ko ha UDP e mo kumandi a lotela platform o kan a diamuta ka UDP tentu ka modol tentu min be UDP wo lanjuro ya tinna han UDP dingol jati nata kumo ka fo ko manke kuti mi ya lonko itol ba kuoto lafta ma fasa andu man UDP fanan suuteje sama ninin reporto fintita ngalon ku jamale be wanyar la ku jamale be bankela ite mu UDP dingol ti kabirin chok sain dung indiamu façon na dun ta patio kono patio nyanta mutala nyaadi le a nyanta mune fola parce que mbe election jamano le kono andung ntolnga moy UDP nyaton ko alaju sen dabo aya fot signa kilinte signa fulante ko commission li ko ku banque ya londe ko nyine keta andung nyine nyanta fananke pour kake ate ane ala patio ibe lorin ne pour ka jeko wo yamaro a lota a wo kuol fanan keta andung ate mo nyako no jubenna ata fola ko kari mum betenne wala kari dabe janne ako loi min fo drong rule of law atelem rule of law manti rule of law party so ite Lamin ni kol yaaje nyaadi le
Allah baraka yalon kafo mun boko UDP ñin sifalu sikenole manson la bar mamira fanan ko UDP dungol min ka foko manson la yeku jawla be min keta be hako dan la keta waaw dol be mo pati dungol yam fo dan la keta ma nyana kala keta nyama bad mamira keta fanan ko kutumi yana go yake molle ya fi ko ha yake tan amanta wonyam badum si yam fo dan don kafu dungo be ko be mo molti molka bo man fi man timma isi pour que yambe nyama na ke no nyama so ngambe yam fo dan la pati to yara do pati dungo be si sabare na nyatilen election kala dum min kono do wulla mbita to la isi duwanye ngata kayra na campagne ka nyama banko na duwa kayro sabati jam kugule na isi wasanande UDP pati manta mo fasala no
tonya do
tonya belo ngafo pamulu tonya kesol be tamala UDP man sakunda ko UDP dingo ding min ko tiarati ko yene ke yemin lekam UDP man sakunda bolo fasala manda ding kin cepat leje ka fe dati je dabi je reporto data nyamen ni ala sonta UDP man sakunda sita badile bi nyanta to ya to nyam barka fo nyimboni je wote kala mini bina pati dum pati lam mom no bina pati ta fono moy tan aji pati bari kula mi yalla ko tiarati dole batara je bak to nya mamira insita fo bi nka fo wala recommendation bo bahela hani mini ko mira o mu kumol to don yalla jawol financier kundi sata ya fenke ya ke kubati puka political wonya fanga so wala ba dole pati bat ay te tara nyaato nak yalla bu kam ko korne ko mi ba nyaade ko wala korne ko di so dole ba nyaato fanga song fanga na kam fan jube ngato nya fo ñoy to nya fo le ka fo salati so nan ko nyinketale jiye bondal ta ko non
alhamdulillah ngalo nying abe mo jamale hakilo tenkundila andu mo jamale fanam bajela ko ato nyaale be je kafu bale mu mbe mantara ku kilin bari UDP kan kilin wole mu to la slogan oti mo be en lon wolla kambente bengo wodron wole be usen dabo bulu sutonin tilo ako mbe fengo fenkela nga bunyani horomo tambindi je nga yitandi molla ko nyim jama kafo a lotale pour Gambia ta nyato nga jele kachal be kekan kabirin na 5 point agenda fintita kabirin na manifesto fintita andung nga moy kangol beto le sain ko sama nimbe kela Gambia jang wole mu ka tonya fasa ka banku dingol fasa parti leader lota jaba kundale ako bankola nafulo keme o keme tango bebita senela la karola a lota brufut jang ako a lafta Gambia dingol fana yeke millionaire olti ye kodo soto ye nafulo soto yeke fankamalti yeke bannalti pour ni banna siata sate to o banko mu kaira bankolti o banko mu nyabo bankoleti andung ngajele kacha wata be kekan tonya la telemun na nyaton koti baraya fang molba bala minu ya lonko wolle ka hakilmayandi wolle ka yamari andun ay alpha kafo fango sotole ay mori kundal fanan sotole dina dol fanan min be jang ani mobile ka keno so ni kumu UDP de ngamira apare abe pareri
dol beta pareri
Lamin so nyin kacha meta andun diamuta kan sababeto so ila kuma labango andun ibe yamaro min kela pour pati dingol ye anin patiol minu fana ba nyato parce que nyaton kaya manke ku femati andun dol katara loring ibe diamula Usain Dabo toyala ibe diamula UDP toyala a beteata dron ye hakkilo to ko ñin patiol lota ñin saratol minu kan manyan na ka tiñantol fango pati dingolu andun nin kan wali yo sotota aman jari mbe ño kaje fila wala mbe kuma kensengo fola ñoma o manke kutimi yalon ka abe banko nafala abe patio nafala wala abe tol fango nafala
yalon nga fo na last interview pamudu ngo kana dum politiko nim banko mu kayra banko na kata dolbe nga kayro dua kayro sabati election mu competition ñoo sa wolem amanke ñoo konti politiko mu mindi ndela miro ni na miro wala ka patiyal jam wannan ko la patiyal na miro dolla ta wala na bano manin bi so pati do fana wala miro mo do wala so dawo ila miro ni min na miro tay kada woldo so aman jari ñoo nenna ñoo baane ñoo faane ñoo wulu ñoo fu aman jari wo bela ta bandan dole bi da ñoo la kulle to dole bi da ñoo la fudu ci to dole bi ñoo baade la aman jari won dole dugal be karabon kile nimbe dakara mo do be kala jadi ite dugal ndere mo dala pare nga songa ibe kala siri ite dugal bi naati ñamande ya aman jari dole bi mo wulu kilmalde aman jari si fatam fansila nga politiko ke nga fo Gambia no be mina kele ni sita comme dol nga fo denga dol wala mun nandu yamude nen pinta nga fo mo len problème mo min be Gambia bi ba jaara nyaade be mol ma ko no nyame nga fata ñoo si neola nga alfal buña ne horma nga kayro duwa ñoye kayro sabati ñim banku kan nga do foy tambita ale min tambindi nga bula no nga ma ko e bangu do ko ngara na hajo ni sañu lu ci la ko tek ta ñoo bari wala ko tek ni min gagne da nga ko dide tubabu du wala wala tubabu du samba mbe fele ngom ngara tubabu du hosulo mo ne bije nga ma so ko na fale ne e ko ñoo fa e ko ñoo nen e ko mo e be lori be ñoo banen na bo mo ñoo la wul aman jari wala dolle denda ni mu Gambia mansia nga kata jan kar fulo mi drejani fel
Lamin iko time o en jam fale bari mbe tentula mbe jayila ila na jam bi on UDP on the trail badimol mba folali ko alnimbara ala baraka UDP de ntolu na kafobe tenne kacale mu nyo yele mu andun mbe jikirin ko December 4th Alhaji Usain Dabo be tambilale kotenke alfalem yalon ko Gambia drum ma bunya Africa bele ya bunya andu alfalem mi yalon kon tolde mba noma kanne parce que ngam minjato jikole mu be jikirin ne fananko sama nte jikile tela alnimbara thank you very much for watching UDP on the trail until we come your way next week have a pleasant day.
You want to know more about our policies and agenda, and also see me on the campaign trail. Join us on UDP trail on Kerr Fatou at 2:30 p.m. every Wednesday.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. maa ngi nuyu Gambien si ak fu ñu di nekk si réew mi di leen yëgal ne man Aji Yam Seck maa ñëw pour wax politique yi United Democratic Party di leen won ne soo leen si bëggee xam dara àllarba bu jot ñaari waxtoo genn wàll na ngeen toog si Kerr Fatou ngeen ubbi radio Kerr Fatou ngeen déglu dinañ waxtaan suñu agenda ñu ñëw tëralee suñu politique pour 2021 da xëcc daa ba mën a dem State House jërëjëf.
You want to know more about our policies, our agenda, and also see me on the campaign trail? Join us on our program, UDP on the Trail, every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. only on Kerr Fatou.
Do you want to know more about the UDP, our plans, policies, and agendas, and also see me on the campaign trail? Join us every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. on Kerr, Fatou, where we share some of the work we're doing with you. Thank you very much.